Okay, we're going live now, so we can proceed.
To utilize this technology further first of all, my name is Sarah Watat. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Xina AI. Xina AI is my third startup in the past 8 to 9 years. We started Xina as I was always a big fan of Iron Man, to be honest, and I always wanted to have my own Jarvis. Jarvis do this, Jarvis do that, and a lot of companies from the big players in the world have developed their voice assistants. However, they didn't give that much of attention to Arabic language. As you already know, we have around 22 countries with around 400 speaking users in MENA region, and there is around 270 around the globe who consider the Arabic language as their second language. However, the big players only supported the standard Arabic, which unfortunately we only use in formal occasions nowadays. To build Xina to support not only the Arabic standard language, but also to support the local dialects of MENA region by understanding and speaking in the local dialect. And that was the idea of Xina, and that was the reason we started building this product 2 years ago. So far, serving clients across the region from different industries, from banking, telcos, retailers, and logistics companies. Today we are focusing, speaking of AI, the whole product on AI. We are focusing on 3 main technologies related to AI, which is natural language processing, speech recognition, and speech. As of today, since we are still in the early stage of our startup life cycle, we have managed recently to close our seed funding round and raising $1 million US. We are expanding our team, and we are always in hunt for AI in MENA region. Today, our team is this 3 main markets in MENA region, which is Jordan, Palestine, and also Egypt. And we are looking forward to find the new talents within our region, because a huge bet on the talents within this region when we decided to build this product and to compete with the big players in the region. The average age within my team is 27 years old. So that gives you an idea of the potential in this region. Today, forward for the presentations and to see how can we further help Zaka in its mission, and how can we partner with the talented engineers that you have been training for the past months.
Thank you, Sari. And
Thank you.
We're happy to have Xina AI with us as well. So everyone, make sure after during the networking sessions that you go to Xina's booth and get to meet the team and get to know more the company. Thank you, Sari. Now it's time to introduce our next speaker, who is Ozan, representing Zillion Pitches. So please, Ozan, make your way to the stage, and you can stand on one of those yellow yellow tiles, please. So Ozan is a serial founder with a global focus and passion. He is an angel investor, a brutal startup mentor, and a program director with 12 plus years of global experience in investing and building startup programs. He is affiliated with UC Berkeley, Stanford, CBD, and MIT Enterprise Forum, and various other innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystems. He has not only helped tech startup founders, but also social and environmental impact founders in the programs created by 500, Sanabel, Endeavor, UCA, STI, and many other programs. He is a proud girl dad and wishes to spend more time writing. Ozan, the floor is yours. Please share your screen.
Thank you so much. I mean, I'd rather have a few questions, and I'm not sure if everybody can kind of unmute themselves and answer, but just want to ask you a few things to the whole audience. When you consider your family lineage, your father, your mother, their grandparents, and everybody else, just give me 1 sec, I had a call. Who is the first person that is a salaried employee? Just think about it for a second. It's probably very highly unlikely because this is a young crowd, 20 to 30 years old. I'm guessing your parents are between 50 to 60 years old. And your grandparents, I hope they're all alive, they're like 80, 70 plus. And my guess is either your mother or your father is the first salaried person in your family, and probably they were not employed by a private corporation, but they were employed by government. So they could be teachers, doctors, lawyers. And there is a good chance that you are probably the first person who thinks you will be a salaried person by default, by training, by education. And this just has to sink in. You are the first, probably the second generation in your family of all the previous generations in your family that is not an entrepreneur. Because entrepreneurship is so engraved in our heritage, in our cultures, in our life, in our families, we kind of tend to forget this. I'm really happy that this is a career fair where we're going to be looking for people to hire. But I also really need to make sure you all understand, especially the students who graduated from Zaka programs, that you have to be entrepreneurial. Even if you don't want to be an entrepreneur currently, today, even if you don't want to build your own startup today, you have to be entrepreneurial. Being an employee of a company today requires you to change and challenge what the company is doing almost every day. If you want to build a career for yourselves, just to tie up to the conversation of the career fair, don't assume you will always be a salaried employee. Don't assume Zillion Pitches is the only path, or any other company who's presenting here or who had been part of the Zaka group, partnership group, the only path you can have. Even if you want to be employed, there are so many advantages of being employed. You learn from people, you get to work in a community, you get to have some sort of stability in your financial expectations. That is not the only path. And even if you work in a corporation, even if it's a large corporation that has millions of dollars of funding or millions of dollars of revenue, that company needs you not as an employee only, but as someone who can think entrepreneurially. That means you have to be open to fail. That means you have to be open to explore new opportunities. That means you have to have the tenacity, the courage, the wisdom to go after problems that is currently not addressed by the company. And it is your job not only to do what you're told to do, but it is your job to tell people how things could be done better. For me, as a founder, I am looking to find people like that. And I teach. Zillion is not the only startup that I have. We have a consultancy group as well as an education group, education technology group, where we teach people to become ready to be entrepreneurial in whatever corporation they're going to be working for. Large corporations, large banks are paying us to train university graduates to have a different mindset, to have a more open mindset when they're employed by the corporation. So next centuries, or this century and the next centuries, new progress, ambitions, and results will be driven by people who are not good at doing what they're told, but who are good at discovering what they should be doing within a corporation. So your parents had a different life. Maybe they are the first people who became salaried and employees, but your grandparents and your great grandparents, they have been doing trades, they have been doing their own life. They have been masters of craft, they have been skilled people, they have been artisans, craftsmen, and craftswomen, but they were entrepreneurial. So you need to remember that being an entrepreneur in this age is not something that's sexy, is not something that's easy, but it's something that's about life. You have to be entrepreneurial to build your future. You have to look into yourself as a startup. You have to look into yourself as an individual who needs to design a future for herself or himself. Being an employee working with a company like ours might help you get to that design, but don't assume corporations, working for corporations is the default. Don't assume if you start working for a large corporation, your job, your career, your future is guaranteed. You start seeing already with startups that are from the region or from US or from any developed country that the minute a crisis hits, large corporations fire hundreds and thousands of people. And you may think that will not happen to you, but it will. One way or another, you will feel that stress. And when you get that stress, just don't forget that you are a born entrepreneur. You are building your skill set to become valuable, to create value, to actually impact your own future. And working with us might help with that future. We hope so. But regardless, you have to be entrepreneur. Don't expect people to tell you what to do all the time. You have to have the courage and tenacity and the wisdom to tell what should be done, even to founders like me. Working for a startup is much different than working for a corporation, but the same principles must apply. And many people in corporate life are beginning to understand that as well. So with that, I just want to stop and not delay much of the jumbling. But fundamentally, be sure you're prepared to take on new roles, new responsibilities, and create your own job description, especially if you start working for startups, and be proactive in building your own future. So thank you, Christoph. Thank you, Larissa. Thank you, Carl, for the partnership. Thanks to all the team members who were working to provide solutions for Zillion. And we hope to be in touch and applaud your future progress. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Ozan. Thank you for your interesting and useful talk. And also thank you for being part of our network and being present with us today. So everyone, feel free to go to Zillion Pitches booth and get to meet Ozan in person and his team as well. Next, we have a speaker from Oreyeon. So we have Salwa. Salwa, please make your way to the stage. Salwa Al-Khatib is a machine learning engineer at Oreyeon. Oreyeon is an AI startup that specializes in the development and innovation of airport solutions with a focus on aviation safety. At Oreyeon, Salwa works on developing and optimizing computer vision and deep learning models, and collaborates with other teams to implement and maintain custom computer vision pipelines. Interestingly enough, Salwa was previously a computer vision engineer at Zaka, and so we're happy to see her succeed as well. And she graduated from Beirut Arab University with a bachelor in computer engineering. Salwa, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Chris, for the introduction. So hello, everyone. My name is Salwa Al-Khatib. As Chris mentioned, I am a machine learning engineer at Oreyeon, and previously I was, as Chris also mentioned, I was a computer vision engineer at Zaka. So you can only imagine how excited I am and how happy I am today to be representing Oreyeon as part of Zaka event. And I would like to thank Zaka for the invitation and for organizing such an event. So what I hope to accomplish today is to briefly discuss how Oreyeon utilizes AI technologies in order to develop its runway surface monitoring system, which is a system tackling an aviation safety problem that is very prevalent in the aviation industry. So what is this problem that I'm talking about? Airports face a problem briefly defined as the foreign object debris problem, which basically costs airports over $15 billion in losses every year. And this problem is not only costly and cost in a monetary sense, but it is also very heavily legislated in the sense that airports are mandated by law to look for and localize faults on the runway and remove them multiple times a day. So most airports use very primitive technologies. Usually they rely on manpower to look for any debris on the runway. And of course, this way we don't have any data safekeeping, and the only automated solution out there is a radar-based solution that is actually very expensive, to the point that only very few airports around the world are able to afford such a solution. So here comes Oreyeon with the technology to tackle all of these challenges at once. And what we do is that we utilize AI technologies to do high accuracy detections of faults, and also we detect damage on the pavement itself. And throughout this process, we make sure that we are following data safekeeping practices in order to be able to extract insights and analytics from this data that the airport might be interested in knowing. So taking a very brief look at our holistic solution and what different parts of our solution are. So the first part of our solution is actually the mobile detection unit, or the MDU, which is the unit that actually does the detection and does the localization of all of these different faults and of any damage on the runway. The second part of our solution has to do with a self-reporting interface that can be used by airport personnel to report any faults, any pavement damage, and data coming from both of these sides all go into the side of air traffic control, which is basically a manager's dashboard that looks at all of this data and analyzes it to do any risk assessment or all of that. So our mobile detection unit is made up of three main parts. The first part is the sensing unit, which are basically the cameras and all of that. We also have the main unit, which does all of the real-time processing, and a user interface so that the driver of the MDU is able to interact with what's going on and figure out what faults are being detected and all of that. So what are the capabilities of this MDU solution? It can detect, recognize faults, and also accurately measure them, in addition to localizing them. And we do 2D surface reconstruction of the runway, where this can actually help with the visualization of the different faults on the actual runway. Our solution is able to run in all weather conditions, whether it's rainy or it's foggy, and also during the nighttime. Okay, so let's talk specifically about what different AI technologies we use in general. First part of our solution has to do with, as mentioned, fault detection or foreign object debris detection. So as you can see, we rely on object detection technologies to localize all of these different faults. We also do further classification or measurement of the actual faults when it comes to their size and all of that. As for pavement damage, as mentioned, we detect and we do instance segmentation of the different damages on the runway, and we classify them according to a specific set of classes. Now, as for the manager's dashboard, this part of the solution is to be used by air traffic controllers, fault managers, and these kind of people. And basically, this dashboard takes an input from self-reporting and from the mobile detection unit to do a risk assessment to actually trace back the sources of these faults and where the hotspots of faults are on the runway, which is something that airports really look for. So let's take a look at where we're at when it comes to actual product development. We have done more than 2,000 miles of testing using our mobile detection unit. Our solution right now is more than 95% accurate, and if we consider Federal Aviation Administration regulations and the FODs that they recognize, our solution is more than 90% accurate. Our product has been successfully demoed and deployed in multiple airports in Europe and in the US. So what actually sets our solution apart and what makes it special? First and foremost, our solution is very low cost and does not require a lot of maintenance. Also, one very important aspect is that it requires little to no interference with the airport operations, which is something that is very important to the aviation industry. You cannot interfere with the operations of an industry that run on a very tight schedule as the aviation industry. And also our solution is easily integratable, does not take a lot of time to set up. The system itself is a standalone system, and the MDU does not require any external power source. So here I'd like to recall a very tragic incident and just reflect on how it motivates our vision here at Oreyeon. So the late Captain Christian Marty, for those who don't know, is the captain of the Air France Concorde 4590 flight. And what happened with this flight and how it actually crashed is that the landing gear of the aircraft upon takeoff went over an FOD, a metal strip. And subsequently, what happened is that the aircraft unfortunately crashed. And the last words that the captain, the late captain, said on record were "too late, no time." So this basically motivates our vision here at Oreyeon, where we're trying to come up with a solution that is not only accurate, but is also very efficient in a way that airports can easily use it multiple times a day, so that we can preemptively avoid to have such tragic incidents ever from happening. So after that, I just wanted to give you a quick look about the internal structure of Oreyeon, so that when I let you know about the different positions we have open, you can have a clear view of how we're structured. So our three main departments are the tech, operations, and the commercial department. And under tech, we have an AI department and a development department. So our solution is holistic. It doesn't only deal with the software and AI part of things, but we also care about deployment, hardware, mobile development for interfacing purposes and all of that. And now as for AI, we have 5 different teams that work on a lot of separate things that all fall under the umbrella of AR. So we have the ML team, of course, and with that we have the ML Ops team, which is basically a team that worries about model pipelines and about continuous integration, continuous development. The Data Ops team, which is basically the team that deals with data pipelines and with in-house applications and solutions that help us have a more organized and more efficient way of dealing with these data pipelines. A Data Science team that deals with the flow processes of our data and also QAing our data and getting insights and analytics from all the data that we have. And finally, we have a 3D development team, which works on synthetic 3D environments for research and testing purposes. So these are all of the open positions we currently have. We, of course, have an ML internship open. I believe a lot of you might be interested in this position. We also have other relevant positions that you might be interested in, from 3D development, cloud software engineering, Android development, and all of that. You can check out our website. This is also our LinkedIn page. You can find all of these positions on our website, and I encourage everyone to apply to any position that you think is relevant to you. So yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the talk, and if anyone has any question, I'd love to answer.
Definitely an interesting talk, Salwa. Thank you so much for your talk and for joining us today. If you have any questions, please leave them to the networking section. So please head to the Oreyeon booth and have a chat with Salwa and the team.
Thank you so
All
much.
right. Thank you, Salwa. So next, we are going to we have Inmind.ai. So we have Eli Abu Zaid and Joe Slayman from Inmind. Please make your way to the stage. To quickly introduce them, so Eli Abu Zaid is the head of operations at Inmind.ai. He graduated from the Antonine University in 2012, and he has more than 10 years of experience in software engineering. He worked in various development and managerial positions, focusing on digital solutions and working as instructor of software engineering courses since 2014 at the Antonine University. He has joined Inmind.ai in 2019 as a project manager and currently working as head of operations. And we also have Joe Slayman, who's software engineer at Inmind.ai. He also graduated from the Antonine University in 2021, having around 3 years of experience in software engineering. He worked in various development positions, focusing on AI-related fields such as computer vision and NLP. He joined Inmind.ai in 2019 as a part-time research assistant and currently working as a software engineer. So, Joe and Eli, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me, Christoph?
Yes, we can hear you and we can see you.
Perfect. It's a pleasure being with you today, and I would like to thank you personally, Christoph, for the opportunity to hook us up with all these companies and all these talents in the AI world. My name is Eli Abu Zaid, and I'll be giving you a brief presentation on Inmind.ai company. And once I am done with that, Joe will get into a deeper dive into some aspects of the AI at Inmind.ai and some specific projects. I will be sharing my screen now. Please let me know when you are able to see it.
Yeah, we can see your screen, Eli.
All right, so we will be starting off with a video, a very quick one. All right. So, Inmind.ai is a company established. It was established in 2018. It is mainly located in Beirut, and we are planning on relocating one of our branches that was in the UAE into Dubai, and we also are planning on opening multiple branches very soon. We are mainly around 70 experts and employees. And we tackle a lot of aspects from the development world, ranging from IoT solutions to computer vision solutions and knowledge mining, and a lot more. Mainly, we offer digitalization consultancy, and eventually we help a lot of companies to digitalize their processes. We have a lot of clients that everyone qualifies as top class clients, ranging like from BMW Group to UN, ESQA, and UNICEF, to Idealworks, to Noise Technologies, and Rolls-Royce.
Eli, sorry
Yes.
to interrupt you. I believe we cannot see your slides. We can see the PowerPoint application, but not the full screens. No. Yeah. Okay. Now it's updated. But if you can go full screen, please, it will be better.
If I can go what?
Full screen, so we can see the PowerPoint application, but not your slides in full screen.
Okay. Is this good?
Yeah, this is better. Thank you.
All right. Perfect. Thank you. So a lot of projects, we have worked on many projects. Can you see it now, Christoph? Can you still see it?
Yes, we can see the slide.
Okay, perfect. So we worked on a lot of collaborations. Mainly, our aim with our clients is to establish a sustainable relationship, which means that to have a long-term projects development with each and every one. We are currently acquiring 2 ISO certifications, mainly ISO 27001, which focuses around security, and ISO 9001, which focuses around quality. So we got also an MEA Business Award for Sustainable Partnerships in 2021, and we got accepted recently as part of the NVIDIA Inception program. Now we will go into covering some of the projects that we have been developing, and some of them are completed. AnyFleet is one of the projects that we worked for a client called IdealWorks, and mainly it's a multi-tenant solution aiming at creating fleets, creating missions for robots, and mainly these robots are industrial robots. It allows us to have like quality assurance testing before having definitely the possibility to get those robots into action. And a lot of technologies have been used there. You can already see them on the slide. The project has been going for more than 12 months. Currently, we're going to our 24th month by end of this year. So you can see here a screenshot of the website where we can upload a certain map where the robot will be working, and we will be able to assign tasks to this robot, and of course make sure that this task, for example, to carry on a certain dolly from it could go as heavy as 1,000 kilograms. So the assignment could be like carrying that dolly from one location to another, all while taking into consideration the obstacles that the robot should be dodging in order not to have any incidents. Pickpack is another solution. It is mainly for Rolls-Royce company. It allows to have like a virtual visualization of the car set. So they have what we call car sets, and car sets are mainly components that allow them, so they gather components to build a car in what we call a car set, and this solution helps to create a 3D representation, and to eventually organize these parts for the car. I would like to quickly share a video. All right. Just 1 second, please. Okay. So right. So you can see here, this is an example of a demo of the online tool. Yes. So it is actually planned to be online. Mainly, currently it is local. So mainly it's a desktop application. So as you can see, the user would be able to create a certain container, and inside that container, he will be able to assemble multiple parts. That all these parts eventually will be part of the creation, or let's say building of the car. All right, so I will stop at this point and resume the presentation. Okay. So also a collaboration with UN. It started with UN ASQA. This collaboration has fruited into a lot of projects that we have completed together. A lot of technologies used and a lot of added value for each party. Mainly, Sinara is one of the very interesting projects actually of that we collaborated on with the UN. Sinara is a search engine that allows UN members to search for any document. As you know, the UN have publications, and these publications are scattered into multiple sources. And these sources are definitely online and available for the public. However, they found a lot of issues while they are searching and trying to write a new publication. Maybe these sources are consolidated now into, or let's say, exposed right now via the Sinara search engine. It allows a smart search for those documents. Not to mention that a lot of knowledge is extracted there. So, as you can see, for example, in these screenshots, it allows the user to build a query. I will, since I'm not able to present because when I'm presenting, it's not showing on your end. So mainly, it allows the user to build a certain query in order to find a certain document that might be relevant for him upon trying to publish or trying to draft a new publication. So knowledge is also extracted from these documents. They are all pre-processed, and already you can see that they have what we call SDGs. And there's a lot of details I'm not going to go into for the sake of time. We also have a project called Esimara, which is an in-house solution that they are adopting to create, as its name tells from the Arabic, to create a certain form or a survey where users are able to give their feedback, provide their feedback. These surveys are actually gamified, so the creator or the builder of this survey can choose to have a gamified way for the users to answer the questions. Simara also allows different departments in the UN to be sharing these forms, these surveys across different members, so that intelligent recommendations would be provided for the users and they would be benefiting from it to create their own tailored survey. Mahara is an expert search engine, so it allows users from the UN or let's say members from the UN to reach out to experts from the UN institutions, and it allows them to directly chat with them in order, for example, to request a certain service from them or a certain inquiry. So also other technologies are used in this project. Istishara, I would like to give the word as of now, and before getting into the deeper dive into computer vision projects, I'd like to give the word now to Joe Sleiman, who worked on the Istishara project and on the quality check tool. Joe.
Hi guys. Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Joe, but there's still some echo.
Is it better now? Apologies for this technical issue.
No problem. All right, Joe. We can hear you clearly now. Please continue.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So thank you, Eli. I will continue by discussing Istishara. Istishara is what we call a document classification tool. So the purpose behind it was the UN had large archives of documents on various topics, and they wanted to check like how do they relate to some specific goals, which are like for the purpose of the 2030 development. It was something internal for them. We used NLP and document classification techniques to be able to quickly identify the major topics of those documents. Like the humans did the exercise and took them weeks to complete some documents, and the error rate was around 18%. We did the same in a few minutes, and we got the error rate down to 10%. Obviously, because it's faster and more efficient. And the bonus is that we were able to do it in both English and in Arabic. So in addition to English and NLP, we were able to do some Arabic NLP as well in order to give them the results that they needed in the Arabic documents as well. The quality check tool was another project. I would say it was based on Istishara. It was done for UNICEF. It had at its core the same document classification because UNICEF had the issue of creating annual reports, and they needed some. And for each year, they had some guidelines and some topics that they wanted to hit. And the quality check tool was basically telling them if the documents written by the country offices, for example, Lebanon UNICEF office, if it's like good enough or not bad enough, hitting what they need and so on. And later on, we expanded on that by adding some extra modules. So we added some non-AI module, which is some check on how the document is written from a syntactic point of view. So check for spelling mistakes, if like the guidelines pricing was like put correctly, numbers were written in numerals or in letters whenever needed, and so on. And finally, we added a module that used sentiment analysis at its core to be able to detect profanities and offensive terms or sensitive terms that might occur within a document. For example, mentions of politicians and so on. And we were able also to include a human-in-the-loop algorithm for this module because the data was very, very minimal at the beginning. So we added this functionality for like end users and UNICEF employees to annotate and to enhance the model iteration after iteration. After that, we have discussed like the majority of our projects in all kinds of AI fields. Now I would like to dive into computer vision because I would say this is our forte when it comes to AI and when it comes to our collaboration. So collaborating with the BMW group for 2 years now we are pushing our 3rd year, is what we call a computer vision suite. So BMW had this idea of having something that we call now no-code AI, which is that they want to make AI models and AI trainings accessible for the public, people who don't necessarily have programming experience or AI experience. So we took core of like different frameworks of like AI and computer vision and I will discuss them later on. And we did some tools and some tooling to them, web-based tools, so we can use them in a more easy to use manner. So, and also we did publish some of those tools to the public, and we got some, I would say, positive reviews and positive contributions from the community. So to also help the community that helped us so much while we were developing this. As you guys know, like a computer vision pipeline would consist mainly of 4 main stages, which is data preparation, the training, the evaluation of the trained model, and finally use the trained model in production, or maybe use it for inference to get actual insights from it when in production. And we were lucky enough to work on to work with tools or to develop tools for each and every part of this pipeline. First of all, I would start with the data preparation, which has mainly two tools, the label tool Lite and the augmentation API. So from its name, the label tool Lite is actually a labeling tool that was developed in collaboration with BMW to be able to label data in various formats, and it's basically an aggregation of different label tools, and it allows different label formats to be saved, such as Pascal, JSON, YOLO formats, and so on, to be able to grasp with this one tool as much frameworks as we can, and to use it for different to have this multi-purpose label tool. In addition to the labeling tool, we were able also to develop an augmentation API, which basically applies augmentation filters to already labeled data in order to make it bigger. So as you guys know, sometimes data is minimal or the size of it is not big enough. We need to apply some augmentation techniques to enhance the number of data samples that we have. So basically, this augmentation tool, instead of relabeling everything, it would help us to already labeled data to apply the filters, and whenever there's, like, for example, here, if you can see this rotated image, the bounding boxes were rotated in accordance to the rotation angle of the image, so labels can automatically be updated with minimal effort from the humans. After the data preparation, we can go into like the main part, which is the training tools. We take great pride with our training tools because they are basically, we simplified as much as we can the training process to a point where it became as simple as a next finished process, and we will show you this in a second. We have worked with various techniques of computer vision and with various frameworks as well. When I say various techniques, I mean like the object detection, obviously with TensorFlow, and we have and also there is the image classification, and also we worked on semantic segmentation. For the object detection, which was the main use case and the one that was used the most, other frameworks were also explored, like YOLO and so on. It's worth noting that in addition to TensorFlow, the classification and our segmentation GUIs are done in the foundation using AMXNet. So really, I will move on now to this GIF where we see how like the training is being done. So as you can see, this is a next if I go back. First, we start by tuning the data set and how the labels we want, training and testing percentages. Now the user is like naming the job and who is doing it. He's choosing the hardware, like we can choose multiple GPUs or one GPU, and simply we chose the network that we want. So here, as the efficient net was chosen. Like this will take a minute, obviously, to initialize, and now like we can see the learning rate and so on. So here I would like to stop for a second on the hyperparameters. So obviously, since people who will be using this tool are not particularly experienced with the field, some of them might not know what to choose or what to choose as hyperparameters. So the main ones, the ones that we like using our expertise, we were able to recommend some basic hyperparameters, and we allowed more experienced users to have full control over the hyperparameters in the advanced that you saw, where they can change directly on the configuration file and use it as basis for their training. Here, like this is a screenshot of TensorBoard. So obviously trainings can be monitored directly using TensorBoard, and here with some visual tweaks on it based on our client demands. Now the evaluation GUI. So after training, we obviously parameters are needed to know how good the models that have been trained are performing. So this is a demo of one of our tools. So obviously one of our jobs. Apologies. So obviously here we are looking into different kinds of parameters: precision, accuracy, recall, and even the IOU, the intersection over union, when it comes to object detection, to check how accurate are our bounding boxes. We can create confusion matrices. We can also have various charts that would tell, give very detailed insights on how a specific model is performing. Finally, we after doing the preparation, training, and evaluation, the end goal obviously is to train or is to use those trained models in production. And here we didn't know what kind of applications would be consuming our trained models. So we had the idea of wrapping them in REST APIs and have other services call them as they would call any other service. So for every tool that we have, there is a And in Fairness API, here we are showcasing our semantic segmentation in Fairness API, using like this Swagger UI to have a more interactive effect. And here you can see like this is a prediction of one of our trained models where the humans in the BMW plant were the target segments in this model. Finally, I would like to speak a little bit about our future vision in regard to this pipeline. So currently, like our first step, we are contributing with BMW in the what they call the BMW SWORDY dataset, which is the as of now, it's the largest photorealistic synthetic dataset available to the public. Our next step after doing that is to deploy this pipeline that I have just showcased. Like currently, it works on local deployments using Docker, but we plan to deploy it on the cloud and have a SaaS model for it, where people can use it as a service. And finally, we plan on expanding our knowledge and expertise in the photorealistic area of synthetic data, and to use maybe NVIDIA Omniverse and tools like that to generate our own synthetic data for our use cases. On a quick final note, I would like to show you some of the photorealistic data. So this data is synthetic, this is not real. It has been generated using AI in collaboration between BMW, NVIDIA, and ourselves, and also Idealworks to get this, and you can check it, BMW SWORDY online. Thank you for your time, guys. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions.
Thank you, Joe, and thank you, Eli, as well. It has been an interesting talk and exciting to see the cool projects that Inmind is working on. For more details, again, I'd like to remind everyone to go to the booth and interact with Inmind's team and learn more about their projects. So for the next company, we have with us a very interesting company, SABIS. So we have a couple of speakers from SABIS. We have Rana and we have Sami. So I'm going to let Rana introduce herself and then kick off the talk. So Rana, feel free to open your cam and share your screen.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me clearly and see me?
Yes.
So I want to thank you, Christoph, for your invitation. It's very interesting so far. As many of you might know, SABIS, that it's a school. We're here today to show you that SABIS is not only a school, it's a network of schools, and also the importance of AI and machine learning in our activities that we're doing. If you'd like to check our careers portal, we are currently hiring a data scientist in our research and development department. It's careers.sabis.net. We will be sharing it with during our presentation. We have here also my colleague Sami AI, who will be presenting as well. So if you have any questions or you want to know more about us, I'll be more than happy to meet you at our booth as well. Sami, the floor is yours if you'd like to present and join. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me figure out how to share once more. One moment. Hello again. Please, can you please confirm you are seeing the screen?
Yes, Sami, we can hear you, we can see you, and we can see the screen.
Okay,
please go ahead.
Great. So hello everyone. Thank you, Christoph and Zaka team, for this opportunity. It's a pleasure for us sharing with you what does SABIS do. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Sami AI. I'm a solutions manager currently heading the data insight team. Unfortunately, I had my colleague, also Dr. Sharb al-Madi, that was planning to join, but he was caught in a meeting, and he'll be probably joining a little bit later. If not, I'm going to have the pleasure to finalize the presentation on his behalf. I hold a bachelor degree in MIS from the University of Quebec in Montreal, Canada, where I worked for 1.5 years in a bank. Then I joined France as a business intelligence consultant for 7 years, and I joined SABIS in 2007 as a business intelligence developer as well. And since then, we've been working on a lot of interesting projects. And currently, like I said, leading the data insight team. We are a team of 5 people covering projects from data warehousing to data visualization using Power BI to some research and development in AI and ML that we'll be talking about during the presentation. So just to share our presentation agenda, a small presentation about what SABIS and what we do, and we'll dig a little bit more into the data analytics and machine learning initiatives that we have done so far. So SABIS, just like my colleague Rana mentioned, we are not only a school, but we are a network of schools. We are currently running schools in 20 countries on all 5 continents. Our first school was established in 1886 in the region of Shwaifat here in Lebanon, and therefore we have more than 135 years of educating children from K to 12. So that's in Lebanon, it's from 3 years old until they graduate and go to college. Our headquarters is in Adma, Kasserwan. We currently employ 400 employees. Our headquarters is SABIS Educational Services. And SABIS Educational Services is a global management organization. We manage all schools that we run in all countries. We have several types of schools. We have private school, we have PPP schools, we have partnerships. So it depends on the countries and the specification of every school that we run. In Lebanon, we have 4 schools, 3 private schools and one school in Matan that we run for free. It's our foundation, SABIS Foundation, that runs that school for disadvantaged children, where they have the same education as any private school, but at 0 cost. Okay. And SABIS Educational Services actually is the one who provides supports on all our schools for all our softwares, books, and curriculum to provide a high-quality education. And we are also focusing and we are committed on continuous research, not only in solutions as technical solutions, but also as a curriculum, as a new, technologies for education and new ways for teaching our children. So we don't create tools and top to the edge software and system just for the sake of creating and that we are able to do. We have a purpose for every system that we do, for every tool that we develop, in order to enhance our school operation efficiency and also to increase the chance of all our students to succeed and to achieve better results, and also to be enrolled in the best of the universities in the world. More specifically, our software development centers are here in Adma. We have more than 70 people in our software development department. We have software engineer, quality assurance, project managers, solutions managers, tester, of course, machine learning and AI data scientists, developers, DevOps engineers as well. Since approximately 5 or 6 years old, we have opened also a development center in Cairo. We currently employing here 15 people, 15 developers locally, and we are jointly collaborating and working on the same projects at the same time. It's important to note that SABIS does not buy anything from outside. We develop the entire systems. We develop all our tools, either for children's, for students, for parents, for teachers, for the system, for the schools to run. So everything is developed in-house, and this gives us the edge or the leverage for modifying our own system based on how we view on how our vision of education evolves, and to prepare our children to the education for a changing world, of course. Let's go a little bit into the data analytics and AI. Like I mentioned, our software development department develop all our systems that we use in-house, in schools, in regional centers, and in corporate. We use a wide variety of technologies, going from desktop application to web to mobile applications for parents, for teachers, and for students. For instance, for students, we have our own ebook application in which we have developed our own ebook, our own books, and that we have enhanced with a lot of videos, audios, interactive features embedded in it. And of course, for the reporting side, since because you will be seeing that we are collecting a very high amount of data during the day, data coming from exams, from attendance records, from infractions, from everything that you might think of that runs in a school. We are storing this information, and we are doing some data stuff with it, interesting stuff. And of course, 3 years ago, we've embarked into the AI journey to develop interesting project. We did a lot of prediction initiatives, a lot of classifications, etc. But our main focus was developing. Sorry, I'm hearing someone speaking.
Yeah, it's just a second. Sorry. Please continue, Sami.
Okay. So yeah, like I said, 3 to 4 years ago, we've embarked into the AI world, where our focus was to develop adaptive learning and softwares and algorithms in order to support our student education. Our main software or system is called SABIS Digital Platform. So this is a cloud-based solutions where all our schools run on the cloud, and it has 4 different pillars: the school information system, the educational technologies, monitoring and analytics systems, and the user-specific apps and tools. We're going to focus mainly on the educational technology and the monitoring analytics today during our presentation. But the idea that is all our schools, all our teachers and students and parents and staff uses the same applications and same software. So this allows us to have a standardized and consolidated operation, let's say, and education, allowing us to have to provide the best educational material and teaching and curriculum across the entire world. So, for instance, a student enrolled in Dubai can decide to move to Abu Dhabi or decide to move back to Lebanon seamlessly. He will continue working on the same system. He will continue to receive the same education, same exam, since all our systems are centralized and managed accordingly. Small talks about the monitoring analytics. Since we develop our own tools, our own examination, our own exams, our own books, we are able to gather all data. So all our 50 schools or 55 schools currently running, and we are opening additional schools every year around the world. We replicate all their data on a daily basis. And this data is being consolidated, cleaned, monitored, enhanced, analyzed, and stored into a data warehouse on which plenty of extensive and insights reports are being developed and shared for schools directors, for academic quality controller, regional directors and their staff, and even on the corporate level here in ADMA. We are able to from the corporate here, we are able to know every student in every school, their grades, their attendance, their university acceptance. So we have several levels of monitoring. Some kind of a reports, okay, just basic reports that runs on demand. We have also KPI dashboards. So this is an example of a tool, an application that we've developed. It's called SABIS 360. So the idea was that prior to this tool, the academic quality controller, and after every exam, needed to print several reports in order to see who are the students failing, what are the questions that were scored low, is there any difference between sections, is there any difference, any problem with the teacher. So the academic quality controller was looking for the issues. So this tool comes in hand where all those issues that the academic quality controller was looking at are being automatically done by the engine of the SABIS 360, and the issues were presented to the academic quality controller, leaving the academic quality controller only to take actions to solve those issues and stop looking for issues. And we are monitoring whether the academic quality control is taking actions and whether those actions are leading to some better result later on. So this is based on KPIs and dashboard, like we said. So on the regional level, we have also an extensive amount of reports. So this is an example of a report that shows after one exam done in the UAE region or in the Gulf region, the exact same exam is being done on the same time across all schools. So we are able, once the exam is done, to compare schools among each other, not only on the exam average itself, but also how much time on average students spend to finalize the exams. You know, the scores of all schools on every question. For example, if you can see here, question 7 was you know, poorly scored, or practically no one answered correctly. So this is an indication that it might be there's an issue with that question itself, or it was mistakenly this question inserted in the exam. Noting that the exam is being generated also automatically, no one actually sees the exam from the generation of that and the question selection until the student takes that exam in our computer-based hall. So no teachers correct the exam, none of the school staff sees the exam. The exam is automatically corrected by our system, and the data is being also uploaded to the cloud, just like we said, inserted in the data warehouse where a lot of statistics are being done and inside dashboard are being shared. We gather data not only on exams, but you gather data on external exams. For example, I'm sure you remember when you applied to your universities, some universities required you to pass the SAT, or if you're going abroad, some AP exams, ICSE exams. We collect those results as well, and we put them into our system in order to analyze and see whether our students are outperforming or are underperforming, you know, internally versus how they score on those exams. And we are continuously using this data to predict and to assist our student and make them, you know, fill the gaps in order to give them the highest chance into scoring very high scores into those, you know, board exams, and allowing them to be enrolled and accepted in the top universities in the world. At the corporate level as well, we have, you know, data. You might think that schools only, you know, collect data about students' averages and student grades. But for us, if a school is running well or is doing well, it's not only because their students are passing their exams or scoring high, but we have our own systems on our own teaching methodology, let's say, and we have system that monitors the teaching methodologies. We have, you know, tools for parents, tools for teachers, tools for students. We also monitor whether they are using those tools or not. Following up on teachers' attendance, following up on student attendance, following up on sicknesses, on missing exams, etc. So we have an extensive amount of data that we collect, and we always discover some discrepancies. And the beauty of it, that where we gather all this data into our data warehouse and starting to compare schools among each other, this is where we are able to depict the smallest issue in any school, and we are able to notify the concerned people about it in order to rectify on any area. So this was the part for Dr. Sharm El-Mahdi to kick in, but I'll be continuing on that. So let's now talk about the educational technologies. Our educational technologies is powered by AI and ML as well, into two parts. We have the learning part, everything that the student uses in order to study, to learn, whether in school, at home, during the classroom, or offline, where it's not connected to the internet. And the assessment part, whether to assess the student whether he learned the taught material or not. On the learning side, we have plenty of tools, you know, digital lessons, SABIS ebooks, an integrated learning system, which is we are very proud of. This is a software that is used by the students and teachers within the classroom, where the teacher is monitoring the reading of the students and they're practicing within the classroom. And because we are encouraging students to learn on their own. We leave the tablet and the content between their hand in the school. We invite them to read the explanation. Once they are ready, they click on a button. There's dedicated activities that are related to that lesson in order to practice. And the teacher sits in the classroom simply to monitor the process of education, and he only intervenes when some statistics that is brought back to the teacher, knowing that more than 80% of those students are stuck into this activity or this lesson. This is where this teacher actually pauses the lesson and intervene, explaining additional stuff on the interactive whiteboard or helping students alone. But we are pushing the system to be adaptive, more adaptive. Because in the current setup of our schools, not only SABIS school, but any school, is the teachers is the one who is lecturing for all students at the same time. The current or traditional way of teaching is one way, and it's one size fits all. It does not differentiate between bright students who are really bored by simple stuff, or it does not detect whether a student is having some difficulty learning and the teacher is actually explaining faster than he is able to grasp or capture. So we have developed a personalized adaptive learning where it has three components. Of course, the student, we need the student. Of course, the content, we have the content. We have, because we develop our own content, we develop our own books, and we publish them as well. The only thing that was missing is the curriculum map that we have finalized as well. So what is a curriculum map? Is like dividing your lessons or your book into some learning points. This is the terminologies of LPs. And you link those LPs by prerequisites or co-requisites. Meaning, if a student starts by learning point 1, after that he can go to 2, to 3, to 4, and only when he finishes or masters learning point 1, 2, 3, and 4, he can move on to either LP5 or LP8. So the curriculum map was developed. We have the students, of course, and we have the content, and we worked on the intelligent system that is inside, that caters for the student's ability, allowing the student to move at his own pace. And it's important to note that we have three types of intelligence, let's say. What we call the most suitable question, meaning when a student is learning point 2, for example, this learning point 2 has an explanation, some videos to explain it, some solved examples, and it has 5 to 6 activities or questions. But here we are catering which question to ask for that student depending on his ability. This is our intelligence system also takes into consideration the question's difficulty with the student ability in order to ask that student the appropriate question, allowing him to answer easily that question, but also to challenge him to a certain extent. We don't want to ask a very difficult question to a student who is having some difficulty, and you don't also want to ask a very easy questions to a very bright student. Both students will get bored and will drop off. So the most suitable questions engine selects that question that is matching the student ability. The second layer of adaptability or intelligence system is to choose the most suitable learning path. So depending on the student path or pattern of answering correctly or incorrectly, some student will be redirected to the group of learning point, addition and subtracting of whole numbers. Some other ones will be also brought to power and multiples of 10. So depending on how student actually interacts with the content, they answer quickly or not quickly, the series of correct or incorrect questions, the engine will take them according to that path. And the last layer, which is the most suitable content. People who work in education know that students have cognitive skills, and this cognitive skills also differs from one student to another. Some students learn best while watching videos. Some other students learn best while reading or practicing or working in group. So the most suitable content also, the intelligence system caters for the cognitive skills of every student. Honestly, we didn't yet tackle the R&D around the most suitable content, but we have finalized the most suitable questions, and it's already running in some schools. We have finalized the R&D on the most suitable learning path. We have the POC. We have POC for the proof of concept. We have all the data for it. It's a matter only of a couple of months of development, translating this proof of concept into a development project and integrating it into the personalized adaptive learning algorithm. So just a little bit to summarize this adaptive learning algorithm, how it works. Some learning point, okay, student tackles it, or the system proposes this learning point. This learning point has explanations, has a form of explanation. It has a text, an audio, and a video. So the student decides to, read the text and watch the video. We have a solved example. The student decides to see the solved example 1, and here comes all the activities that comes with the learning point. This learning point has 4 questions. Every question has certain parameters. One of the parameters is the difficulty of that questions, and another parameter would be the guessing probability of that question. The system calculates for that student coming into this learning point, what are the probabilities of answering correctly every question. And the system selects the highest probability. Not the highest probability, actually. We have a threshold and some formula not to select the 91%, for example, question 4, because it will be a very easy question. So we will not be able to really assess whether that student really mastered that learning point or not. So we give them the learning point that has a probability that falls between 70 and 75%, and this is the question that is proposed. And just like we mentioned, the second phase that is, we have finalized the R&D. It's based on Bayesian network, and this is where the students is actually propose the learning path. Okay. So that was a small brief on the personalized adaptive learning. Now, if you move to the assessment part, so also we have plenty of systems to allow our students to take exams, whether online, offline, or in school, whether proctored or not proctored, whether to practice and to prepare for their exams. All of them are also gathering data on that. But once again, here, similar to the adaptive learning, where we don't want the content or the learning to be one size fits all, we have developed also a personalized adaptive testing, where the test also adapts to every student while taking that exam. Okay. So, for example, we have in SABIS, when a new student would like to join grade 7, for example, he has or she has a set of exams in English, in science, in math to pass. Okay, and those exams, for example, in grade 7, it has 50 questions. Some questions are from grade 5, 6, 7, and some questions are from grade 8. So previously, what we were doing, we were giving those 50 questions to the student, and the student has to pass the entire 50 questions or answer the entire 50 questions. One application of the personalized adaptive testing is to have those 50 questions part of the system, and depending on how the student answered the first question we ask, and we start eliminating some questions. For example, if question 5 is a prerequisite to question 7, and if he answers question 5 incorrectly, it's no need to ask him question 7 because it's a prerequisite. So we drop them back. It's a little bit more complicated than this example, but it's about that. It's based on knowledge space and knowledge space theory. You can look it up. We have developed it, we have customized it a little bit to our own needs, because we always have our own way. SABIS has our own way to to do stuff and to educate and test children. So yes, one of the advantages of it is to assign the appropriate grade level for new incoming student, also placing student at the appropriate academic level within the course. This is also, the adaptive testing also would apply also in the adaptive learning course. So when we develop an adaptive learning course, not all students will start at the beginning. We might have 20 questions just to assess student. Perhaps this student during the summer revised his course and is a little bit more able than his peers. So the adaptive testing will place this student at the learning point 5, for example, because he already knew learning point 1 and 2. So he would be able to start on his own at his own place and move through the curriculum map according to his best patterns. Finally, we are also working, and we have also developed a proof of concept to work with the face recognition. And how do we use face recognition here in SABIS? Is actually used to unlock student app. Just like I mentioned before, every student has a tablet, an Android tablet, on which they have applications for exams, applications for ebooks, other applications for to practice. And how are we going to make sure that this student is actually using his own app, going into his own ebooks or going into the application that will allow him to take exams. So we have developed a proof of concept around that to unlock student app. It works, the same concept as unlocking your phone using your face recognition algorithm, but we have developed it ourselves. We use the face recognition also in the continual student verification. It's not enough to allow the student in the exam. Make sure that this same student is sitting on his exam during the entire duration. We don't want a student logging in, going, moving away, and his older brother or sister coming in to complete the exam. So the software that we have developed continuously verify whether this student is still sitting on, in front of this in front of his camera, and if some detection, another face detected, it will eventually stop the exam or send an alert to the proctor in order to notify that some cheating is going on or potential cheating is going on. A third application would be the classroom attendance. So currently our teachers have their tablet and they take attendance on their tablet, but this will take around a minute. This is 1 minute less teaching time in the classroom. So our idea is to have a camera in the classroom that takes a picture of student and verifies who's there and who's not there, and automatically record the attendance in the system and alerts the disciplinarian, or even send notification eventually to parents, because the parent either did not call the school to advise his or her child is not in the school, or he thought he dropped his child at the school, but his student went with his friends outside the school. And finally, this is where we are aiming actually, is also to use the face recognition and detect emotion recognition. So why do we use student emotion here? Just like I told you, we are pushing our students to learn on their own. So we want them to be better prepared for college, university, where this skill of reading and learning alone is crucial. So in order to prepare them, we need to let them learn, but also we need to make sure that the content we are giving them is accurate enough. So the idea is to have a student reading an ebook, for example, where the tablet camera is detecting his face and detecting his emotions, and we are able to detect 7 emotions to see while the student is reading a certain paragraph, what are his emotions? Is he disturbed, angry, I don't recall what are the 7 emotions, but we are able to match the text that the student is reading with his emotion, and eventually allow the curriculum developer to look at this content itself and see whether it can be written in a certain way to allow students to better, understand or learn, or perhaps, enhance this paragraph or this text with videos, audios, in order to help our students. That was a brief of what we do in ML. I wish we have a lot more time to walk you through some demos. But I invite you to apply into our career site. This is our webpage. We have several openings, whether in the software development department or the R&D department with the academic development department. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you for listening.
Thank you, Sami, for introducing the exciting things at SABIS. We're happy to have you with us. And again, I'd like to remind everyone to continue this conversation at the booth, where you can meet Sami and all of the team from SABIS. And now, finally, we have one last company, and then we can kick off the networking part. So please welcome Catherine and Abhishek from Artefact. So Abhishek Singh has been part of Artefact for 2.5 years. He's now a senior data scientist, and he has worked with several clients, including Nakheel Malls, L'Oreal, and Saudi Telecom Company. Having graduated with a master's from one of the top data science universities in Paris, he has used his machine learning, predictive analytics, and modeling skills to create business impact with several clients in the Middle East. We also have Catherine Thorpe, who's the HR and talent manager of Artefact MENA, having grown the business from 30 people to 100 and expand into new territories, including Dubai, Saudi, and Lebanon. She is consistently connecting with top talent across data science, engineering, and analytics to grow the data functionality of Artefact, which is at the heart of what we do, of what they do, actually. So welcome to the stage. Please share your screen and you can kick off. Can you please stand on the yellow tile, Catherine? So,
yeah.
Yeah. No, not the one above, just next to me here, please.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, go ahead.
Thanks. Let me just share my screen. Thanks so much for the introduction. So yeah, thanks for the introduction. As Chris mentioned, I'm Catherine, the HR and talent business partner of Artefact MENA. So that covers our office here in Dubai, Saudi Arabia, and our new recent entity in Lebanon. I have Abhishek here with me, one of our senior data scientists, and also Lean, who is based in Lebanon. And together we're working within the HR and talent team and building our new office in Beirut. So thanks everyone for joining. So a little bit about Artefact. So Artefact is a specialist data and digital consultancy. So we mix the two forms of strategy and marketing with data and technology. Essentially what that means is we consult clients in the Middle East in what they should be doing with their data ecosystem. So how they can improve things within their data ecosystem to create business impact and tangible insights that they can improve their business with. So how do we do that? We mix digital data and consulting to solve problems, understand the consumer, and essentially form data strategies, implement and deliver those data strategies for all the clients that we work with. So a little bit about where we are and where we've come from. Actually, the Artefact Group was formed in 2015. And right now we are over 1,000 employees across different global offices. We are above 70 million euros in terms of gross margin. And we have ambitious growth plans to be 3 times bigger than what we are now by 2025. So there's a huge amount of growth that's happening within Artefact right now. And the plans are to be between 3,000 and 4,000 people across the globe. And part of that growth is happening right here in the Middle East. So there's three main offerings that we consult and offer as a business. So data consulting and digital data transformation, data marketing, and digital marketing. So across all three of these offerings, we have specialists within their own disciplines, and we also have strategy data consultants that are acting as project managers, product owners on all these specialized data projects. So just to give you an idea, we are across 15 countries with 16 offices and 1,000 employees. This is us here. We have our office in Dubai and also KSA. And as I mentioned, we are just about to form our branch in Lebanon, Beirut. And we plan on recruiting between 10 and 15 people on the ground in Beirut across data analytics, data science, data engineering, and also strategy consulting. So just an idea, we work with international brands as well as local brands in the Middle East. Some of the most well-known brands, we work with L'Oreal, we work with Samsung, we work with the Dubai Tourism Board, the Saudi Tourism Association, some of the biggest telecom companies, and we have a mix of international, local clients, and we also work on global accounts between different offices as well. And that's just an idea of some of the clients that we work with across our global offices. So as well as clients that we partner with, we also partner with technology players in the region. So we're partners with Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Alibaba across analytics, web and app analytics, cloud platform engineering, on-premise data providers, and also the major cloud providers. We have all of our experts in-house, so we get our data engineers, our scientists certified within these technologies. So then we can give our clients expert advice across all these different tools, technologies, and data platforms. And this is a snapshot into all the players that we work with globally and in the region. Cool. I'll pass over to Abhishek maybe to talk about the different teams and the types of projects that he works on in regards to data science, machine learning, and engineering.
Hello, everyone. First of all, I'm sorry, just a minute. Maybe you can mute it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you, Chris, for a very warm welcome.
Let me just do this. Sorry.
Yeah. Should be better now. No.
Maybe Catherine, can you move away from the spotlight tile? Maybe this would.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Abhishek.
You guys can hear me?
Yes.
You're on mute.
Yes, we can, but there's an echo.
Can you try speaking now, Abhishek? You are on mute.
Hello. Is it better, guys? Chris, is it better now?
Yes. Yeah, it's working perfect. Please go ahead.
I can't hear you though. Just a minute. Yeah. Am I audible, Chris?
Yes, you are audible. We can hear
okay.
you and see you.
Okay, let's start again. Sorry for that. But yeah, thank you, Chris, for a warm welcome. And as Kat very nicely mentioned about what we do in the company, I'll just take a little bit of time and tell you how we work in teams and provide consulting to our clients and help them take data-driven decisions, because that's what we set to aim. So basically, on all our data consulting teams, we work with some consultants, data scientists, data engineers, and if the project demands, data analysts as well. So we're working primarily with Middle East clients, and a lot of the projects start with assessing clients, understanding about their data architectures, where they stand in the data growth chart, like how can we use their current data and take decisions. So the first step of all project involves in starting to assess the data, look at their data quality, understand in terms of what we can help them with, centralize their data. So work with a lot of these tools that Kat mentioned and help them achieve a centralized data structure. And then we move on to building a lot of machine learning use cases for the clients. On top of my head, things like lead scoring models, propensity models, and working with NLP and helping them, work on chatbots, and just to mention a few of them. So there is a lot of demand in the region on doing these kind of ML use cases and helping derive value out of it. And yeah, I just want to keep it short and give you just a flavor on what we work on as teams, and not take too much time, because I think we have a networking in 5 minutes. But yeah,
I think we lost Abhishek. Abhishek, can you still hear us? Hello. I think we have a problem with his connection. Can you stand on the yellow tiles again, Abhishek? If you can hear us. I think he has an issue with the connection. Is Catherine here? Catherine, if you'd like to join us and continue this talk, or maybe Abhishek was wrapping up. Oh, okay. Sorry, I missed that. Perfect. Then thank you, Abhishek. Thank you, Catherine, for introducing Artefact, and thank you for being part of our network and present with us at the Career Fair. So this concludes a long session of company introductions. There are other companies also present today, so please make sure you go through all the companies, you network with them, you interact, and you get to learn more about each company. Thank you all for joining us in this live session. We will now stop the live and start our networking sessions. So enjoy and